Hi everyone. Just like to say a big thank you to all those who've subscribed to the channel. I think we're about 130 or so now. I really put them up just to see if anyone would be interested. There's quite a few model engineering bits and pieces on YouTube now. Some really great content coming up. So I thought I'll add my bit. Most of it's about my 5-inch gauge 9F just sat next to me, and we'll have a little walk around it, I guess. And I was just going to show you around the workshop. I haven't been able to make many videos, so I thought I'll do an introduction like this and I'll get some pictures out of what I've been doing. We'll have a little walk around and explain it, and I'll add a lot of pictures in because I want to try and edit video, so I thought I'd give it a go. Okay, with that we'll have a little walk around the workshop. Right, try it like this and we'll see how we get on. So this is the workshop. It's where the magic happens, as I say. Single garage attached to my house. It's taken a bit of time to sort of pull together. We'll just start with some of the sort of machine tools. So this is the lathe. It's a Smart & Brown Model A. Do loads of turning on this. Got a really good sort of setup and that. Got 4 jaws and all my regular bits and pieces sit on this shelf up here. So the 3 jaws up there. I've also got the collet chuck holder, which is this metal bar in the back, and all my collets sit in nice sort of secure case. Yeah. It's great solid lathe. I don't like moving house anymore because it's blooming heavy, but that's where I do all my turning. I'll fire it up for a minute. There you go. Can be a bit noisy. I'll just shut that off. But yeah, it's a fantastic piece of kit. Just come back and let you see it properly. It's really good size. I mean, it's big enough. I have a 5-inch gauge Manor I'm rebuilding, and I've had the full wheel sets between centres in there, and yeah, no problems, lots of clearance. And I'll show you those in a little bit actually. So there's the lathe, very nice. I've had that for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now. Next piece, which is a bit newer to me and in general, it's an Alpine mill drilling machine, and again, bought this from one of the members of my local club, which is probably where you've seen the 9F running. It does tend to have a few things get stacked on it. But again, it came with loads of tooling. I'll walk you around some of that in a minute. Vice, all the good stuff. It is a little tight in this corner. I do need to have a slight rearrange. But as you can probably see, there's a 5-inch gauge 9F on its servicing trolley in the back. And again, you'll have seen that in some of the other videos on the channel. Yeah, that's really good. I really enjoy using that. I'm not as proficient with the mill as I am with the lathe, but again, it's just a learning process. Try to learn without, injuring yourself is a key thing. Another key part is this is my workbench. It came out of a prison, actually. Nice solid wooden workbench. Me and my neighbour went and picked this up. It's a real heavy brute, so trying to move it around is not ideal. But yeah, got plenty of space. Just doing some decal work on my 5-inch gauge 9F tender, which isn't my favourite job. It's not come out too bad yet. It's just trying to keep the thing clean so the stuff adheres to it quite well, and a bit of paint work to stuff to do there. In the background here, we've got things like all my milling equipment. So there's all the collet chucks, bits and pieces that go in there for the milling machine. We've got loads of, I think these are 4 flutes, milling bits. And there's double flutes in here as well, all sorts of stuff. And then this one is for the lathe. So again, just move all my documentation. There's all sorts of Jacobs chucks, height gauges, bits and pieces, model engineering stuff I need to think about. Again, lots of lathe tools. Again, all for the Smart & Brown. Drill bits, imperial drill bits, as you go on. A bit of measuring equipment and that kind of thing, thread gauges there, and obviously a notebook, which is always handy, and then all the kind of BA spanners, files. Again, not even sure what's in there, that's just stock items. I think there's some rivets and bits that sit in there, and again, we've got all sorts of, these are all little parallels for the lathe and the milling machine when I use them. Measuring equipment, clamps, loads of clamps, and then some of the bigger stuff I don't tend to use very much, don't tend to need them that often. And then general hand tools and that sort of thing. But yeah, having a big bench really does help. I say it's a single garage, so it's not mega massive, but we cram a lot in. Yeah, here's one of the benches. This is my daughter's Speedy. Got got quite a few bits and pieces for this. There is a boiler in the back, but that is of unknown origin and unknown quantity, so we'll have to think about what goes on with that. All the cylinders, this chimney and some other bits, brake pads and all that stuff are in there. I think there's an ash pan and stuff in there. So this was bought as a kind of side kit. It's all been made by one of the members at the club, but I think they passed away, and there was a bit of a sort of sale clear out. So yeah, here she came. The boiler's from a loco from the past. I've had a couple of engines in the past, but none of them have really got very far because I didn't have this kind of sort of space, you know, workshop facility, all the bits that you gather as you get into all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's Speedy. And here is my 5-inch gauge Manor. So she's, well, let's call it, she's never run. It's got a boiler, and I'll show you that in a moment. But it was one of the purchases off a well-known trader. Boiler's fine, which was the main thing, but the wheels and everything needed a lot of work. A lot of the motion stuff has been done okay. It just all needs a little tweaking, a lot of work to bring it around. I'll show you some of the, I mean, it is actually, when you pull it all together, sort of, you know, with the boiler on and all that, it looks really complete. I mean, I've had the wheels in it, I've had the rods on the side of it, I've had the cylinders on and off, and again, there's some really nice castings of cylinders, and I'll just dig them out in a second. But there's the main chassis. Pony truck's all done. I just had to make a new mounting spigot for it, and all the main driving wheels, so they've all been in the lathe. Profiles turned to GL5. They're all roller bearings, so I've had all them off. These have all had new axles. I think the eccentrics, which are these bits here, they're all new. And they say I'll just put the camera over here a bit, you can see some rods and things. I will dig this out. I do have loads of pictures of me doing all this work. And maybe that'll, when I get back onto it, and I'll explain why I'm not working on this and why I'm mainly doing 9F stuff at the moment. I'll pull a video together and you can see it. So that's probably something for the future. But there she is. Yeah, so it's going to be 7803 Barcoat Manor. I'm not into Great Western in a big way. That's not my main thing. But it just seems I've inherited lots of Great Western engines. So I bought this one and the 9F and the Speedy, but they were kind of too good not to miss, really. So I thought, right, we'll have them. But yeah, right, next bit. Right, and again, hopefully you can see her okay. So this is my 5-inch gauge 9F Evening Star on her servicing stand. I bought this about 12 months ago, so I've had the Manor a fair few years. Speedy's always been getting on with, so I've had the lathe maybe 5 years or so. But really, what I really wanted was something that ran, that you can take to the club. I'm a member of Erewash Valley Model Engineering Society. Take it to the club, enjoy it, get on with things. So the history of this engine is she was a Winson kit. Originally, she's had, I think it's about 4 owners. Was built as a kit, didn't really work. Moved on to another sort of chap, probably more model engineering based. Did a lot of bits and pieces to it. Then I think that he passed away. Went on to someone else, and they had some professional guys do some work. So like all the cylinders, they look just like the Winson ones, but they're actually cast iron lined pistons and rings for both the cylinders and the piston valves in there. I've had them looked at. Anyway, ended up with a friend of mine. I think he bought it off. Ended up with Jerry, who owned it before me. Chap who's done beautiful Britannia, again ex-Winson, rebuilt everything on it. And this was kind of his 3rd loco in his fleet. So he had a beautiful Britannia that ran very well. But now I think, given Jerry's probably knocking on a little bit. No, sorry about that, Jerry, if you're watching. I think it was just getting a bit too much to move the Britannia. So he had a Ginty, which is a lot lighter. He does wonderful work on restoration of cars. I saw all this when I went down to meet him. And then this, which is a real look. I can guarantee you this is not an easy thing to move around if you're not set up for it, or if you don't have a process. And maybe we'll do a video on me getting it in the car later, because I'm planning to go to the club tomorrow morning, and I'll show you the kind of setup. But yeah, so he'd done lovely work to it. I mean, we'll just have a little look in detail. So you've got all the, so these are all Doug Hewson castings that he's placed on them. I don't know if it was Jerry's design or someone else, but They've had proper safety valves set up, and these work really, really, really well. They're really, you know, you can just unscrew them, whatever, and you can adjust them, but they're, yeah, fantastic bits of kit. And again, more Doug Hewson stuff for the manifold. Again, it all works. There's a pair of injectors on this and the Winson mechanical pump, which actually works very well. Jerry's set this up for, move you out of the way, he set this up for, sorry about this, for raised running. So he's got, there's the regulator and the reversing handle here. Just turn you around, sorry for the wobbling about. There's all the internals. So you've actually got, a screw reverser you can reach here, and then you've got the actual Doug Hewson set of kits that live in there. I'll just take you, there's the back head. There's some, I'd like to do some improvements to it. So all these like fake gauges here, and there's another fake gauge over here. I'd like to get them off and like initially cleaned up and probably just made to look like gauges rather than they've kind of got hot and messy and whatever. So I'll just put you in there a minute so you can see the back head. But I think we'll probably maybe look to have them working. We'll see. Yeah, so there she is. Just come down a little bit more. I think the aim might be she's going to have a new hydraulic on her and a steam test soon. I'll probably explain that in another video, along with the sort of improvements I've been doing. So I've done quite a bit of work on the mechanical lubricator. It's got this like Winson setup here, which doesn't look like what it should look like really. So I'm building new bits. I'll quickly show you that in this video as well actually. I've done a lot of work with the tender, quite a few problems with that. I'll explain that a little bit. But she was really stiff. So before she wouldn't, when she came onto this stand, I bought the stand separate off another chap. I had to really put her on the bench and try and roll her backwards and forwards with oil in, to try and just ease her off. On the videos that you've seen, this is the bench with the rolling roads and everything. You can hear it. Before I did the die block work, she was stiff, and then she was still quite stiff, quite hard to go. And then after a lot of running, I think the last time I got a video up was of her running at Error Wash quite well. She seemed to have eased off a bit, but now you can actually roll her nice and steady, and she'll actually turn over. It rolled into the car fine when I bought her and all that kind of thing, but maybe just the oil, not sure. Anyway, the aim is to have 2 mechanical lubricators. So there's this side that again will get reworked, and I'll take the mechanical lubricator off. It does leak quite a bit of oil. I also need to check the piping. A lot of people have a lot of problems with non-return valves. I think that's quite well known in the circles. I know at the club a couple of people have had it. But the aim for this one would be to have mechanical lubricators, one either side. And I think I've actually bought a John Rex one. Yeah, there she is. So that'll see if it's the same dimensions. And again, we'll sort this linkage out to make it look a little bit more like. And then we'll go from there with a. So yeah, that's a 9F. I'll take you around the tender next because I've done a lot of work to that. I know it's on the bench, but we'll show you some of the stuff. Right, tender, 9F tender. Yeah, I've had a bit. The engine is set up, or was set up, to run on raised track. So that basically means kind of, sort of waist height. You sit astride. For me, what I really wanted, I really like ground level. So what I was having to do in the videos previously was sit on a riding car behind, which was really designed for passengers, not for as a riding car properly. Reach over the tender and basically try and control the engine best I could using like little sticks and stuff, little hoops on. Which aren't ideal. So there is sort of some pictures on the ground level 5-inch gauge website where one of the guys at Steam Workshop managed to basically modify the tender. Don't know if it's their design drawing or whatever. I've replicated it in my own way. So what we've got now, foot pegs. Try and turn her around. Mounted in a similar way to the version I've seen. Just bring you in a little bit. So you've got this front foot peg mounting just in here. I'll take you out the stand. Give us a second. I'll do my best to keep it steady. So what you've got here is, this is the tender where it attaches to the loco. So the drawbar goes in there. You've got this bar, and it's mounted behind these these sort of intermediate buffers here, bring you around the side. So I've had to redirect all the pipe work, and what this allows you to do, just reach in and get them. I won't screw them all in. They're 40 TPI because I hate myself, but you get the idea. Again, you can sort of screw those in. They do go in. There are some standards to meet. I can't remember what the actual dimension is now. I think it's over 18 inches. You know, in total from side to side, it's way within that. So it's just somewhere to put your feet. So there's that part of it. You've also got to think about the springing. So this has dummy cast, I think they're cast bronze or something, leaf springs. So what I've done is there's some metal plates and a rubber pad, again sort of taken from the pictures I've seen on the GL5 site and what I've seen on the videos and bits. So these sit under each side. There's 2 steel plates and a rubber pad. Now the steel plates actually just slide under the axle box onto this frame. So this frame is what we're kind of aiming for. It's 3mm thick steel edge on. You'll see the next bit in a minute. So that's going to take the weight. Now we've tested it with my daughter and me and my wife. So it has taken a fair bit. So yeah, hopefully that's all okay. So we have tested it with quite a lot of weight. It shouldn't be a problem. And then I've also fitted 4 of these tubes here. These are painted aluminium tubes. I didn't want solid. It just adds a lot of weight to the tender. So we've gone for that. I've also had to modify the mechanical lubricators. Apologies for the tie wraps, not very model engineering, but needs must at this stage. That's a gauze. So what I've had in the past is this is absolutely rammed full of sealant. I'll put a picture in there when I edit it. It all just flaked off. It all went in the pump, a lot of the injector. They've got filters on and everything. So they just basically got completely bunged up. There's one of them. One of the feed points in there, and the other 2 are down there in the dark. So that was that. So I've had to clear all that out and reseal it in areas. I've just done like a sort of, only in areas it was leaking. A lot of the tender tank was actually pretty good. And then this. It's not a spoiler, although I do say that to some of the guys at the engineering club just to see the reaction. This is the pad to sit on. So the idea is sit on here, foot pegs on here, and then you can reach in, and then you're right at the back head, and all those controls are on the back of the loco. So the regulator, the reverser, all your injectors, everything are in easy hand reach. Tested the tender, it should be fine. I need to get it out on the actual road with the engine and just see what the setup's like. I need a padded seat because that's not going to go down too great for a long period of time. Yeah, and we'll just see how that goes. And hopefully there shouldn't be any problems. I've also re-rigged the brakes. So there is a handbrake in the form of a winding handbrake, as per the loco anyway, as per the engine anyway. I want to fit a handbrake that I can pull in an emergency like I would have on a riding car. So hopefully this all works. I'll fit a handbrake because my daughter can fit on this dead easy, and she does like to drive the engine, which is lovely. She'll need a brake, and I don't want just a winding brake. That's mainly for like steaming bays off she's parked up. It needs something you can quickly act to. I have modified the linkage so that we can fit a handbrake to pull. So if we pull on it, we can put the brakes on, and you'll be sat on it. So there should be some weight in there. So yeah, that's the tender. I mean, that's taken a couple of months on and off. So this isn't my day job. It's just a hobby. But yeah, hopefully you got all that. Well, hopefully that's gone all right. Yeah, what a hobby. It's it's not the easiest thing to get into. I've spent years getting into it with a little bit of a sidetrack to standard gauge stuff and this, that and the other. But it's very rewarding when it works out, but it doesn't always work out. Yeah, hopefully you found that interesting. I might do a few more like this. We'll see how the editing goes. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. If you've not subscribed, please do so. Like and share if that's what you want to do. Yeah, and I might make some more. So brilliant. Thanks ever so much.